Life is Fine by Langston Hughes. I went down to the river. I sat down on the bank. Tried to think, but I couldn't. So I jumped in and sank. I came up once and I hollered. I came up once and I cried. If that water hadn't been so cold, I might have sunk and died. But it was cold in that water. It was cold. Took the elevator, 16 floors above the ground. Thought about my baby, and thought I would jump down. I stood there and I hollered. I stood there and I cried. If it hadn't been so high, I might have jumped and died. But it was high up there. It was high. So since I'm still here living, I guess I will live on. I could have died for love, but for living I was born. Though you may hear me holler, and you may see me cry, I'll be dogged, sweet baby, if you're gonna see me die. Life is fine. Fine as wine, life is fine. In Life is Fine by Langston Hughes, the reader follows the story of a man who's probably been under his luck and wants to commit suicide. He is unable to do this as the man loves his child too much. 3 sequential scenarios are presented. These have similar structures, yet different tones. As the poem progresses, we see the man's attitude towards life change drastically. Hughes takes us to the unnamed anonymous man's mind and tells us his awful experience with suicide. This man speaks in first-person perspective, constantly throughout the poem, where he explains why he is unable to kill himself. Hughes makes this man talk in a list/sequential manner, making it seem as this man were telling his experience to someone, possibly a therapist, or even his now-grown child, as the last line in the last stanza suggests. Both of the third and fourth lines in stanzas 2 and 4 are very similar. The pair stated how the man hollered and cried. The difference between these two stanzas is that on the second one, he was able to take the first step to commit suicide, jumping into the river, but then regretting it, which meant that he was given a second chance. While in the fourth stanza, he knew that he never jumped. That would be the end. No more second chances. So he doesn't jump. By making all of these small changes in the first 4 stanzas, the reader is giving a sense of progression, where he feels that the main character is developing as a person. Hughes then presents the reader with a drastic change on the second to last stanza. Life is fine turns into a present tense, and while some aspects are kept similar, most change in order to convey the idea that he has accepted his reality and will live through it no matter what. The man is unable to give up on his baby. Hughes then presents a beautiful final stanza in which he gives the man another layer of depth regarding personality, where we are able to truly feel how much love he feels for his baby. The poem ends with its title, Life is Fine, while also saying, fine as wine. This could possibly mean that life, as wine, gets better with time. Where Life is Fine may be read as just another poem about overcoming suicide, it is love that makes this message resound and keep this poem relevant through the ages. Hughes presents a story about a man who is ready to give up on life. The man begins his journey with a foggy mind. His situation comes abruptly, surprising the reader, and although the text revealed next to nothing about the man, I can personally say that I wanted him to stay alive. And thus we follow this testimony of rediscovery, where we find out about an experience not many of us think about. What can make you change your mind about suicide? By the end, the reader is left with a gorgeous moment, where they are able to appreciate what humanity is all about. Even though the man is broken inside, and his situation won't ever change, even though he'll holler, even though he'll cry, The man will give all of what's left to him to his child, and to all who ever leave his side. And so I'll read again. Life is Fine by Langston Hughes. I went down to the river. I sat down on the bank. I tried to think, but I couldn't, so I jumped in and sank. I came up once and I hollered. I came up once and I cried. If that water hadn't have been so cold, I might have think and died. But it was cold in that water. It was cold. Took the elevator, 16 floors above the ground. I thought about my baby. I thought I would jump down. I stood there and I hollered. I stood there and I cried. If it hadn't have been so high, I might have jumped and died. But it was high up there. It was high. So since I'm here still living, I guess I will live on. I could have died for love, but for living, I was born. Though you may hear me holler, and you may see me cry, I'll be dugged, sweet baby, if you're gonna see me died. Life is fine, fine as wine. Life is fine.